And we are live. This is They Talk Funny with Paul Ash. We have a very special guest today. So please, let's get this started properly. As I said, my name is Paul Ash, and I have very lucky today to have as special guest the talented, the funny, the industrious Elspeth Wright.
Hello, Paul. I don't know if I've been called industrious before. I like that.
You've been right from the get go from the COVID-19, like the lockdown. You started putting out. You upped your game on Twitter, on Instagram, heavily, and I mean, I can't believe I forget the name, but you have your cohabitation partners behind you.
Oh yes, Madeline.
Madeline is there just to make everything. We get that a little glimpse into your life, and you even have your plants growing well, which, as you can see, it's only death behind me.
Mm.
But
It's
granted, I just moved today, so it's not today. I moved. When did I move? Today is Tuesday. I moved Sunday. Sunday,
wow.
I sort of moved back in. So no, I moved Saturday. I'm just lazy.
I
I'm
don't know
just
what days are anymore. Like there are things that I've been meaning to do like since this all started. I'm like, oh, I'll get to that. It's like, oh wait, it's been 3 months. Like I just
has it been 3 months. Have been
has
locked down for 3 months.
it's been like 2.5. March 15th was the date.
Right. When was your last live show in front of an audience?
It was the Wednesday at the Comedy Nest. So I think it was the 11th.
11th. Okay.
Because it was the theme was superstitions and bad luck.
Yeah. We had the 11th was the last vaudeville at the Wiggle Room, and then the 12th they did Tinder Tales from the Wiggle Room as well. So now one of the things that you sort of done, you sort of have made your own. You've carved a space. You had just started doing it live, but the Battles of Wit just started coming out onto the stage scene, and then that ended because of COVID. So can you tell us a little bit about what was the impetus for creating Battle of Wits? What inspired you?
Well, I think so I had a different show at the Diving Bell, which is where Battle of Wits is. And it was just sort of like a sort of standard comedy show. And it was always on Wednesdays, which is a very competitive night. And also as a comedian, a night that I kind of wanted free to be able to do other shows. So that show just like sort of stopped doing it. And I wanted to keep producing a show, and I wanted it to be something just different and special. And, I love game shows. I love trivia shows. Like I was like the captain of my high school trivia team, not to brag about how cool I've always been. But so I just sort of decided to put my love for like sort of game shows and like British like panel shows and just sort of riffing all together into Battle of Wits. And it just sort of, the first show was really different from the set. Like it was really, really evolving as a show in the 4 live shows that we did before everything was shut down. And I don't know, I didn't want to lose momentum, and it was just, it makes me really happy to do the show. So I just wanted to keep doing it.
And I'm glad. I think it's a pretty impressive show. I just want to welcome our viewers. I'm not sure if you're watching from YouTube or from Facebook, but if you just want to write in a comment, we'll be able to see that they will pop up, and they will pop up like this. So it'll tell us whether or not you're coming from Facebook or YouTube. So at least say hi if you don't have a question. Elspeth and I are here saying hi to you guys. Now, the big impetus for me for doing this was to talk to people about their creative process as well. Like, and you well, we've written together a couple times. You have like an incredible, how can I say? You have a sense of you come at things at different angles quite regularly. Would you care to explain like part of your writing process, how you get there? And we get a hi from Sarah Lalazar as well.
Hi.
Fantastic musician. She's going to actually guest with me on the Love Doctor live stream on Wednesday. So
nice.
she'll be popping in, maybe singing a song.
Ooh, lovely. Yeah, I don't know really my angle for writing things. I think I just kind of get a thought and write it down, and then like I'll look at it like the next day and like sort of see if I still giggle from it, or I don't know. I just think that I kind of just see things in a maybe slightly different way from other people, and I don't realize it, but like it's I don't know. I think I just have a weird perspective that like to me doesn't seem weird until people are like, wow. I don't know. I can't really describe my process because it's just sort of like I'll sit down and I'll just kind of have a thought and write it down, and like it will go from there. But I find like, I have this one, if I have like a big concept joke, I'll try to write out the big concept, and I can't get through it because it has to like, the idea kind of has to like just pop into my head, or like the situation has to just sort of happen, which makes it really frustrating to write, because it's like sometimes I'll like sit down to write jokes and I have to, when I do that, I have to just like search through my notebook and like see if I can still read the thing I wrote when I was half awake at 5 a.m., like just.
I was just reminded of your psycho killer joke.
Yeah.
Which I think is brilliant. I think you have tried to do it with towards the lowest common denominator, but you don't use mind maps or any of those other writing tools. No,
I probably should. Like I studied theater in university, so I took a lot of like playwriting courses, and I'm a writer like by trade, and but that all kind of goes out the window when I try to write jokes, like because I think when I first started doing comedy, I would try to write every joke out like a script, and then like my actor brain would kick in, and I'd get like too married to every word, and I'd be like, no, I have to say, it's like, but I wrote it, Shakespeare didn't write it. I can mess up the words, I can play around with them. So that could be something I should probably try to go back to, because I just sort of write jokes and then say them and record, like always, recording my performances when I can, and just like seeing what works, seeing where the beats are and stuff like that. But it's just sort of like, I probably should come up with a process, because I feel like I'm creating bad habits. Hi, Mom. But
Mrs. Wright, you have a fantastic daughter. I also want to say hi to Barry Carter. He popped in with a hello earlier as well. Barry's a comedian, started in Montreal. He's currently living in Ontario, and it's not Kingston, it's the other K. Oh, shoot. Barry, tell me where you're at now. And Barry just had a wedding anniversary, so congratulations.
Oh, nice. Happy anniversary.
I think it's less than a week, but COVID time is a little...
You just had a wedding anniversary too, didn't you, Paul?
Yes, I did.
Happy anniversary. I meant to say that to you.
Thank you. That was May 19th. May 19th, so a week ago.
A week ago, nice.
Yeah, it's time drifts. It's really bad. And your mom is agreeing with me. So
thanks, Mom.
Now okay, during COVID, a lot of us have lost income, so I'm going to just throw this up underneath there. If anyone wants to support Elspeth and her, like beyond just, of course, watching the content that she puts out, if you want to financially support, you can always contact her via PayPal, and tell Madeline that Janice said hello as well, or Mom said hello as well.
Yeah.
Is Madeline like a sister, or just a roommate, or?
I mean, we're like sisters now, but it's definitely complicated. It's, she's just always watching me.
To get back to something that you had said just a little bit earlier, and one of the things that like uh, I like to like trying to explain stand up to actors is it's no one else has seen the script, so if I
Yeah.
flub or as long as I get the general points across and I hit the word economy for the best punches,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter if I change the script slightly from time to time. Just
Yeah.
comfort level. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so true. Like there's some jokes that it's like, oh, I wrote it this way, and it's like even now, well, not for the past 2 months because it's been ages, but like I had like a brand new joke that I was doing and it was killing, which like never happens for me with new jokes. Normally, it's just sort of like, okay, that was like lukewarm received. I think I can work on it, but I had this new one that was like actually working right away, and yeah, and then I watched it back from a couple different shows, and I was like, oh, I found out like. Mom. I found out like a couple of ways that I can like make it quicker and like cut down on the word economy and like it's I think that's I got my mom distracted me. I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry, I'm back. I'm also Barry has corrected me. He was in Kitchener, but he's now living in Milton. And a shout out to a musician friend of mine who he actually has survived COVID.
Oh wow.
He had to separate from his daughter and his wife, and I know it was very hard. And he got actually 2 waves of it, if I remember
Holy
correctly.
moly.
So Carl, I'm really happy
Yeah,
you're doing
glad you're
well.
well, Carl.
But thank you for tuning in. If anyone's watching on YouTube, you can always hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're notified whenever I'm doing any of these video projects that I've started up. There's the They Talk Funny, Battlecom is happening online, and also the Love Doctor takes over the channel every Wednesday.
Nice.
Okay, you mentioned you touched on your education. I don't know if you remember exactly what you were saying before your mom distracted you. Janice.
She's a 3rd grade teacher. She should know about it.
Okay, so if you still remember, and you're welcome, Carl. It's good seeing you. What do you remember where your train of thought was before we get derailed? Because I'd like to touch on a couple other things.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, well, you grew up in New Brunswick,
Yes.
but you were not from New Brunswick, or your family wasn't really from New Brunswick.
Yeah.
But where did you go to university? Where did you take theater?
I went to Queens in Kingston, Ontario. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a Bachelor of Arts program, but they did have a theater department, so it was great because I got to like have the practical aspect, and I also got to like learn how to like really write well because it was an English degree, but with like clowning classes as well, so it was it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Nice. A couple people have just chimed in. Just wanted to say,
Hi, Claudio.
Claudio's here. Says Peter Bowen.
Hi,
Peter. We got to now, but I know that you spent some time in Asia, and you had some interesting jobs there. How soon after university did you go to Asia?
Like less than a year, because I graduated like right as the recession was happening. So I graduated with a theater degree and a women's studies minor into a big old recession. So we're in a ton of jobs, and I started dating a boy that I'd gone to high school with, and we moved in together. And then a week later, on my birthday, he dumped me.
Oh.
And a childhood friend of mine had messaged me, and she was in South Korea, and she, messaged me to say happy birthday. I was like, hey, you're in South Korea. How do I get a job there? And so my birthday is like the middle of May, and by July 1st, I was in Daegu, South Korea.
Wow.
Just like, oh, can't live here anymore. And then I spent 2 years in Korea. It's, thank you, Claudio. I spent 2 years in Korea. It's a wonderful, beautiful country, and the people are amazing. And then I went to Hong Kong for 3 years, which was also like fantastic. And yeah, definitely interesting.
Nice. Now you have a story or a joke about one of the things that you've done while teaching. Can you kind of share like how much of the joke is true?
Oh, so I have a joke about how I taught telepathy to 6-month-old babies in Hong Kong, and it is all like that joke. I didn't make anything up. I don't even go. I could do 5 minutes just on that job, but I feel like people don't believe me when I talk about it. Like I could do like a there were so many things about how we had to like do the telepathy. So like, do you want me to like walk you through how I would teach telepathy to babies? Do we?
Please, please.
Okay.
It as long as it doesn't involve like putting cigarettes out on them when they got it wrong or something.
No. Yeah. So I'd have to, and I'm gonna have to use this voice.
Okay.
And I've been told by people that this voice, it's meant to sound like soothing, but it might not sound that way. So I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm being creepy or something. That is not my intention. It's my
should we put in when the video is up? In the description should I put like an ASMR? Just
yeah, except like not. I don't know. So I have things. I always have things on my desk because I'm always fidgeting. So depending on the age of the kids, we'd have like 2 to 3 objects that look different. So I'd pick one up and I describe it in this voice. So like, here we have this round piece of Velcro, and if you touch it, it feels bumpy. It is black with white letters, and it feels very bumpy. And here I have this little light that my friend gave me. It is green and clear and very smooth. So now I'm going to take these 2 objects and mix them up behind my back and send the image into your mind. Okay, I've chosen the object. I'm looking at it. I'm feeling its size and color. I'm feeling its texture. And now I'm going to send the image into your mind. Beep. And that was it. And then we'd give the kids like little cups with 2 of the things, and they'd choose them. And the parents would get furious if their kids didn't get it right. They're like, you did it wrong. And I was like, you did it wrong. You brought it 6-month-old to learn
to a telepathy class.
Anyway. It was nuts. And it was really spooky because like all of the teachers there were like, you know, slim, usually blonde. Like we were all around the same height. We had to like keep our fingernails sort of the same way. We weren't allowed to wear our glasses. Like it was a spooky job.
Wow. So it was be the Stepford Academy, basically.
Yeah, it very much was. Yeah. And the parents were not all the parents, some of the parents were really chill, but like the ones that were mean were so mean. Like it was...
Now Peter Bowen actually has a question. Were you doing this in English to the
Yeah. So a lot of people in Hong Kong speak like really good English, and if not, it was just to sort of like they'd kind of also use it as an English class as well. So yeah, it was like learn English and telepathy, bang for your buck.
There's a comedian, Pete Johansson, has a wonderful story about taking a tour of Japan, and the promoter began to panic because the tickets weren't selling out well enough. So he rebuilt it as listen to a native English speaker tell jokes.
Nice.
And he said that he'd be on these stages in these large rooms, and he would, say the setup, and then the audience would repeat it back.
I love that. That's really sweet.
His special is on Netflix. It's Pete Johansson. If you get a chance to see him live. It is so much better. But shout out to Pete Johansson on that one. There's now, how long exactly were you over there? When did you come back?
I came back almost 5 years ago.
Almost like 5 years.
Yeah, because I came back when my oldest nephew was about to be born, and he'll be 5 in August. So
wow.
Yeah.
All right. And you you came to Montreal first.
No, I lived in Ottawa for a regrettable, no shade to Ottawa, but yeah, for like a bit over a year. And then I moved to Montreal because I had a work from home job at the time, and I was living in this like studio basement apartment that was like really expensive. And I sort of was, just one day I was like, I'm gonna just look up rent in Montreal because I hear it's cheap. And I found like this beautiful 3.5 that was, the same price as my like basement studio. And I was like, okay, I'm going. Like, I didn't know anyone here, but I was just, I didn't know anyone when I moved to Asia either. So I just, I figured I'd do it. Yeah.
Now, you didn't find a traditional route into doing stand-up.
No.
You at first, you actually went to probably what I consider one of the hardest rooms in Montreal.
Yeah.
It's like, personally, I only ever went there when my ego felt like I could take it. Do you want to kind of explain to people watching?
Yeah, so I'd always been curious about doing stand-up, and like, with my acting background, it was, I missed being on stage because I hadn't, I left university and I did some acting after, but not a ton. And then I moved to Montreal and I made friends with a bunch of musicians, and I was just like always seeing them on stage and getting so jealous that I was like, I want to be back on stage. And they're like, do stand up. And then I like kept saying no because it's terrifying. Then one of my friends was just like, hey, like this date, you're going to go do stand up. So I was like, okay. So because most of my friends were musicians, we didn't know where open mics were. But at the time, the Grumpy's open mic was music and comedy. And so my friends were like, oh, Grumpy's has one that has comedy. And so I went, I did it. It was.
Now, before you say anything else, let's describe Grumpy's.
I mean, I miss every public place right now. So I'm just like, Grumpy's is the most beautiful place I've ever been. Yeah, so it's like a stone-walled basement with
the staff. I love the staff.
I like Grumpy's, but it's,
yeah,
to do a show there, like comedians go there to hang out and to like try out their absolute newest jokes, like just to, because sometimes you just need to say your jokes out loud. But at the time I went there with like a script and like 10 friends. Mm-hmm. And also because nobody actually watches when you go to Grumpy's, I kept getting pushed back, even though I was there like the second the doors open, because that's just who I am. But they were like, oh, she has a crowd. So like so I was on like last.
So yeah, it became a hostage situation.
Yeah. My friends and I were all being held hostage. And yeah, so I did it a couple of times, and then I stopped doing it for a while. And then about a year and a half ago, I was just like, no, I want to do this and I want to take it seriously. So like, I'd say my comedy like birthday is like December or January, but like my first encounters into Grumpy's were like August, and then I took time off, and then May. Like I did a couple of open mics, but not consistently over the span of like a year. And then just last a year ago in December, I was like, I'm gonna start doing this. But
so where's the furthest afield that you've actually done comedy now? Like, you've been doing it for a year and a half, but I do know that you traveled somewhat.
A little, yeah. I went in January. I don't know what time is anymore. I think it was January. I went with my dear friend Abby Stonehouse. We went to Toronto and we did Tinder Tales there. And we also did a show at the Ossington, which was really fun. And everyone was very talented, and I was intimidated. Yes, I agree 100% with Claudio. It is a fun and tough room. It's now like, before times, like now I would just go to like hang out at Grumpy's and maybe get on the list, but usually just be like, I want to see my friends, but not actually do it. Get on the list and then be like, no. Like, I just saw somebody walk off the stage crying. I'm not going to do it.
Occasionally you need your soul crushed. It's okay. So we interrupted you talking about Toronto, Ossington.
Yeah.
and we went to what was the name of it? Cornwall. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, so I've done a bit in like Ontario. I went to I've done some shows in Ottawa, Cornwall, Eastern Townships, then all over this exotic land of ours.
Oh yeah, Toronto's 7 hours away, but everything else is
Yeah.
within 2. So
Yeah,
it's all. Yeah, it's you were starting the hustle.
yeah.
Now, something that you're not shy about to talk about on stage is mental health,
Mhm.
and mental health is like it's a huge deal for a lot of people, myself included. Why is it important for you to bring it into your comedy?
I think, well, especially at the time when I was first starting comedy, I was in a treatment program at the Douglas Hospital here, and it was twice a week. It was to treat borderline personality disorder and post traumatic stress disorder, and it was like I couldn't, because it was twice a week during the day. It was hard for me to get like a full time job, so it was like going to therapy was kind of my job.
Yeah.
So it was sort of, I didn't really have a ton else to write about. And also, when I was first diagnosed, I felt a lot of shame about being diagnosed. And I was like, oh, I'm crazy. This is like, But then I sort of realized that, like, it doesn't make sense to feel shame about surviving something, Like, if I had a physical illness, I probably wouldn't be like, oh, I'm so ashamed that I have this. Like, I don't, like, it just means that I have been through things other people haven't been through, and I don't want to feel shame about it. So I started talking about it, just, I don't know, just sort of heal my own shame. And then I've had other people come up to me and, when I mention it, just say like, oh, I have that as well. Like, it's, it's just like, it's when those jokes don't work, they don't work. But when they do work, people are just like I've had people go to me with tears in their eyes. Like,
I have a friend who doesn't get out as often as she should. Well, and especially right now. But she pointed out to me, like, I had to tell her your joke about putting the initials after your name. She blogs on mental health, and she thought it was amazingly funny just from that. So, do you want to share that with the people who might be watching? I mean, we have 5 viewers right now. We don't know what will happen in the rebroadcast, but
yeah, I'm trying to remember my own joke. So it's I was recently diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, or BPD, if you're feeling sassy, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. It's a little more famous. It's no big deal. And there's a lot of stigma around those mental illnesses. So what I've started doing is putting those letters after my name. So I'm like, hi, Elspeth Wright, BPD, PTSD. Nice to meet you. Yeah, and then it goes on. It goes a couple of ways from there, depending on the crowd and the set I've done so far before that. But
which is definitely, and let's put out. Yeah. It is an important thing, especially in today's day and age, that if you address it, and comedy is always better when it's personal. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. Like, when I first saw you, I thought, okay, this person's good. Where the heck has she been? And I think I only had seen you like probably within your first 10 times of doing stand up. So it was you came across much more polished because you were able to open up so well. So
yeah, I think that was one thing, is like also when I was first diagnosed, Maria Bamford released a show called my mom's saying my punchline to me. Nice. I forgot it. That's why I like pretended. I was like, hey, it goes a couple of different ways. Thanks for remembering my joke for me, Mom. But yeah, no, when I was first diagnosed, Maria Bamford released Lady Dynamite. And it made me like just feel sort of like, because I already loved her stand up. Like, Maria Bamford's like one of my very favorites. And then that show was just like, oh, this is actually like this is what it's like. And it was just so real and such a relief to see it. So I was like, I should also use my experience, because like that show, like honestly, like pretty much saved my life a couple times, because it just made me feel less alone and less crappy. Like
now, what's your techniques during COVID? What are your coping mechanisms now that we're in quarantine? Because you live well. I mean, you have Madeline, but have you named the plant that's hanging beside you? Because it is.
But I have a little dinosaur that my like TV remote's attached to, and I've named him. His name is Chauncey.
Okay, so you have Chauncey and Madeline.
Chauncey and Madeline, and that's I have a lot of plants. I've been acquiring plants. Another little guy here. I'm gonna become a crazy plant lady.
Plant lady, yeah. So supplant the cats. I didn't mean to make that sound like a pun, but it's so what are your coping mechanisms? Because it is hard to deal with the social distancing, and
I feel like every 2 weeks I have a good 2 or 3 days where I just have a mental breakdown and cry a lot and decide that I'm gonna quit comedy and move away to, I don't know, Alaska. Like, just like, so that happens like every couple weeks. I'm just sort of like, I'm done with all of this. But I don't know, I'm fortunate because I do have I have a really good support group of friends and obviously family that I talk to a lot. And so, I always have people to talk to. I find I adapt quickly to things. So now I'm kind of like, I don't like it and I want it to be over and I want everyone to be healthy and I want to be able to hug people again. But if I don't think about that, I'm kind of used to it. So like, as much as it sucks, it's just sort of, I don't know. Also I've been keeping routine. So like I've started doing Battle of Wits every week just because like it gives me some sense of structure. So it's like, okay, I know, I normally film Battle of Wits on Tuesday. So that means I have to wash my hair on Tuesday. It's like, it's sort of, I worked just taking care of myself into the structure of doing that show. And
Battle of Wits has a fairly long URL. So I'm just dropped it into the comments. So if anyone, you can actually pick it up on YouTube or Facebook, and that'll take you to it as well. So sorry, just wanted to get that in while it was relevant.
Go subscribe and like it.
Yes. But sorry, I cut you off. You were saying how Battle of Wits helps you structure your week, and
just because it's sort of, like I film it on Tuesdays and then like it premieres on Fridays, and sort of I edit it and harass my friends who does the opening titles and the closing sequence to get those into me, like just and then like I edit it and like I learned editing to do it. So it's like I'm learning stuff, and then the show takes quite a while to write because I have to do a lot of research, and then I have to figure out how to sort of turn that research into questions that could possibly be funny, and I have to find all the different things. So it's definitely been keeping me very busy, and I'm really thankful for that because
And the premiere time on Friday is 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, but it's available. It's always available after that. But 7:30 p.m. on Fridays, and then the links are just up on YouTube to watch whenever you please.
Yes, I'm going to do a little self plug. Also on Friday, let's make Fridays Battle Fridays, because BattleCom happens at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's you get like an hour break between the two shows. So 9 p.m. BattleCom happens, and I know that you've seen a BattleCom. I think you told me you didn't feel you were the right type of geeky for it. But if that ever changes.
I mean, I've got time now. I'll learn all of Star Wars, and
oh, that is way too much time. I don't think anyone has been able to watch all of Star Wars during the quarantine. Like, first you got 9, 10, 11, 12 movies. Plus then you have 3 4 TV series.
Yeah, and the Christmas special. Don't forget about the Christmas special.
The Christmas special. And then there is the unfathomable, hard to get is the Topher edit of the prequels. It's just I'm putting that out there. If anyone has like a link to the Topher edit, I really want to see it, but I don't want to break any laws. You don't have no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm just nodding and smiling. Like, yeah.
Do you know the actor Topher Grace?
Yes.
Okay.
That's who I was thinking of when you were saying Topher edit, but I was like, this probably has nothing to do with Topher Grace. Wait, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Which is okay. Topher Grace, I actually like Topher Grace, but I just really find that it's pretty pretentious to shorten Christopher to Topher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold it, we got a question coming in. Do you think you'd ever do it live? Like the Battlecom happens live, the audience actually votes.
Yeah. No, just because I mean, I'll do it live again once we can do it like on stage again. Because I miss that a lot. But I think so that was a decision I made like when this all happened to start like recording it. And I like it just because like with the screen shares and like there's a lot of stuff that goes into it that kind of needs to be edited in. And also the live show is close, like the live show like at the venue is close to like an hour and a half or 2 hours long. And it's really fun at the venue because it's like
alcohol and
you can play along and it's, but I feel like that would be too that'd be too long for a computer version of Battle of Wits. So yeah, I like doing it recorded. I feel a little safer as well, just doing it recorded. It gives me a bit of a safety blanket. So yes.
All right, so I will just get back to mention what the Topher edit is.
Please. Yeah.
So Topher Grace took an editing class, like because he's not somebody who just went, hey, I was a teenager on a show and I don't have to learn anything else. So he has been going back to school and he wants to be a director. So he actually took an editing class and he took the 3 prequel movies from Star Wars, the ones that everyone kind of really dumps upon, and he edited them together into like 188 or 90 some minute long film. And he got permission from George Lucas at the time to show it to a bunch of like nerd bloggers at the San Diego Comic-Con. So apparently there was like 30 people in the room, and he nailed it. He made a cohesive film out of those 3 films.
I want to see it.
So much better. And that's the thing, is everyone wants to see it. So it's almost got this mythic status now.
Yeah, I'm not even big into Star Wars, but I want to see it.
So this is which Star Wars is your favorite? Don't say Captain Kirk. It's
I've only seen the original like 3. I remember when I was a kid, I liked the one with the Ewoks, and I feel like that's like the worst possible answer I could give. But I was a child, and I thought the Ewoks were cute.
They were, if you kind of ignore the fact that they, would eat sentience. They almost cooked Leia. So, they did some things unspeakable to the stormtroopers. If you go back and watch it, like they're using the helmets as drums. They've got a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Thank you.
That, and by the way, that is incredibly cringy as well. The Xmas special.
I've listened to podcasts about the Christmas special, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's some YouTube videos that close up on the grandpa's face while he's watching the porn. So Claudia was happy that you like the classics. So just we've been talking. Wow, I usually aim to do these about a half hour, so we're about 40 minutes in. So hell no, this is great.
I'm a chatty Kathy.
You are fantastic and charming. Look at that smile. Like you are. you've been a pleasure to chat with. You are a pleasure to watch on stage, and I can't wait to be able to consume more of your comedy. So again, I just want to say, if you want to support Elspeth, you can do so at paypal.me/Battle of Wits. If you want to support me in my channels, I'm at paypal.me/Ash183. So those are there. We want to thank everybody who tuned in, who added some questions. Do you have any parting things that you want to talk about, Elspeth?
No,
or?
it was lovely to talk to you. And like, also, you've got 3 shows going up. You're making the rest of us look like slackers, Paul. Come on.
That I have to say, I've been wanting to make Battle Combat TV show for years, so it's been in my head. But the software that I found here, it's not even a software, it's a service, which is StreamYard. If anyone wants to know anything about StreamYard, I'm just going to throw up their logo. They just make it so easy. They are all about, they're all about making it look professional, ease of use, and stability. That's the 3 benchmarks. I will get a bonus if you decide to subscribe to the service from me. So just send me an email, and I will send you their email link or something like that. Whatever it is that makes it so I get credit. And if you don't choose to buy, that's fine. The free service alone, it's amazing. You're just kind of stuck using their watermark up in the corner, and you don't have all the fancy stuff of changing, like the background that I've got changed here, or any of the fancy little overlays like this wonderful one with guest Elspeth Wright. This has been They Talk Funny. My name is Paul Ash, and again, thank you to Elspeth, everyone who's watched. You've been all fantastic, and we're going to get through this. Oh, yeah. One final comment has come in.
I knew it would be my mom. I love you, Mom.
Thank you, Janice. Everyone have a wonderful day. Don't forget